You're funny.
Like I said, do you like my tail?
Like I said. Welcome back to Iron Rage. I am Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined live here with Lee Priest for a very special edition of Iron Rage on this. Well, it's Friday. It's actually Friday midnight for me, but it's actually you're already into Saturday already. How's it going over there, Lee?
Yeah, good. It's almost 4:20 Saturday afternoon. And cause, hold on, I got to skip an ad. I'm on Ron Howard ad on YouTube here. Hold on. Oh, there you are. There we are. I was watching Ron Howard.
We have a lot of people already.
My daughter wants to say, "There's my daughter." Hi, Dave.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
How you doing?
Not much. I can't hear you. Give me a headphone.
Is that the real Lee Priest daughter, or is that the fake one?
That's the real
There's
Lee
two
Priest.
of me?
There's only one, thank God.
There's only one Lee Priest daughter. I got you.
Yeah, she was up here answering questions.
I'm looking at you. I'm trying to imagine my daughters, my two, like my 1-year-old and 3-year-old. I'm trying to like fast forward them in time to see what they're going to look like. You know, now that Lee has a grown daughter already. You know.
Hey, do we have good genetics? Look, I'm almost 50 and Ali's 29. Look at this.
Yeah. Well, you have very good genetics because you got a full head of hair, which I'm jealous of. You don't really have any wrinkles on you. You've had tattoos on your face and removed, and your skin still looks good. So I think, Ali, you're probably in good shape with Lee.
Phew.
Lee is your dad.
As long as she didn't get my mentality, she's okay.
Well, that might be impossible to exclude. It's a matter whether she acts on your mentality or not. That's the real story.
She hides it. She hides it well.
Sometimes.
Xavier Will says we both look very young.
If you see her driving a car, she's totally nuts. So she's roid rage in a car.
I do not.
Is she a good driver? I mean, you were like a real race car driver, so I mean, you actually know how to drive. Can she drive as well as you?
I haven't been in the car with her while she's driving, but Rachel, my wife, has, and she came back like a ghost.
I was
really?
bad.
Like that.
I just don't like stupid people on the road.
Let's just say she abuses everyone.
Everyone else is stupid. No matter what I do, it's always someone else's fault. That's what I always say, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a good driver. They suck.
That's right. So Lee, what you were filming today for your documentary? Another documentary.
Yep. Okay, bye. Have a safe trip.
Great seeing you.
Have a safe trip home. Don't abuse too many people on the way.
Oh, she's leaving now. We can talk about all the stuff we weren't allowed to talk about when she was here.
Yeah. Yes, I was started redoing because the Generation Iron documentary sucked and I wasn't happy with it. So the people that did Call Me's movie, which was great, they're from Australia, so they're going to redo my documentary. So we just started filming with the interviews and that today.
Right. Now, who do they interview here in Australia? Or there in Australia, I should say.
They're going to interview my mum, my sister, people that I actually trained with and lived with, people that actually know me this time. So it's going to be people that actually knew me. So, yeah. And then they'll probably come somehow, if they can't get to America, they'll interview people. I think they've already done Tony Doherty.
I was going to ask if they did Tony. Tony knows you forever since you're a kid, so.
Yeah, and then... Oh, look, someone said I block everyone that has a difference of opinion. No, I don't block everyone that has a difference of opinion. I block dickheads. And the thing is, Dave, let me have a go at these people for a minute.
Yeah.
I only block people when they just go over the same stuff. It's like, I like arguing. Trust me, I love arguing, and I love a good argument, no matter how bad it gets. But when you just say the same shit over and over and over, you become boring to me. So I just probably block you then. So why are you so upset? And upset, Lee, block me. Get a life, dickhead. So where were we?
The documentary.
Ooh,
they should interview a couple of these guys for the documentary, the posters.
Oh, my God. They should do a documentary on people that don't have a life.
Yeah.
I like to go on people's pages I don't like and talk to them and keep following them. And then if they block me, I create another page just so I can follow that person I don't like again and keep abusing them. You
know what the funny thing is with me is I don't even block anyone because I don't even read the comments because I have no time. So people could be saying the most heinous things about me, and I just ignore it. And it's not that I'm like purposely, ignoring it. It's just that I just don't even have the time to read the comments. And the funny thing is, a lot of times I like to read the comments because I like constructive criticism. But I'm always cranking out new stuff, and I got the 3 kids, and I got this, and I got cancer I got to deal with, that I don't have time for these guys. So a lot of times they just
Dave,
don't
say
it
that.
doesn't even matter,
You
The only time I actually
years
even
ago
notice
more.
some of the stuff that is being said, Lee, is like when people will send me a link to something, and then I'll comment.
Yeah. Viking said you blocked me 8 years ago or more. About did I have Facebook or Instagram? I haven't had an Instagram for 8 years, and that
You probably had Facebook, though, yeah.
I don't know, did I? But for talking about what should be on your T-shirt, well, Viking, obviously you can't give fashion advice, so I blocked you.
So, Lee, what makes a good T-shirt? Like, what's a good like for you to wear?
Something short and sweet, like Nike had it done with just the swoosh because everyone knows that's Nike, but just something straight to the point. Like, I'd have something on the front, could be just like the letters yes, and people look at it, and because you're a bodybuilder, generally when you walk past someone, they always turn around and have another look at you. So on the front, I'm going to have yes, and on the back, you're a cunt. So for when they turn around and have a second look, oh shit, just something short and straight to the point like that.
But I noticed that a lot of you Aussie guys have been busy making movies. Now you were filming a TV show the other day. You were in a hotel room when we talked. How did what went on with that one? That's the one where you play the white supremacist, right?
Yeah, that was the Fat Pizza TV show again that I did last year, and I played the white supremacist ordering my super protein pizza again and stuff like that. Yeah, it's going to be a funny scene.
And I noticed that your countryman Guy Grundy did a little scene he had in a Batman, like a 30-minute short on YouTube, which I watched. My friend Mike Zeltzer sent it to me. It was really good. It was like a real. I gotta send it to you. It's really good. He's only in it for like a few seconds. Yeah, you'll like it.
I know. I know. Guy's done a bit of hasn't he done like stunt work and that in other movies and different shows and stuff? So
I would love to see you guys fight each other like in a scene like in a movie. I think that would be great.
Well, a good movie I got coming up near the end of the year, if it gets filmed near the end of the year, will be a full-length Australian movie similar to Lock, Stock and Two Barrels, but Australian version. Good sort of action, dark comedy humor. But if you want to see a good movie, I watched that Boss Level, and it was really good with Mel Gibson. It's like where that actor Frank Grillo or whatever he is, in great shape too in this movie. He keeps dying and coming back and getting killed every different way and coming back. If you want a good action comedy type thing, Boss Level is a great movie.
I didn't know that. I'll have to check it out.
Check it out.
Now that I'm watching movies. I watch movies at like 12 midnight when I'm like working out. So
yeah, I sent Frank a message saying it was a great movie, and now he follows me on Instagram. Say what?
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Here's the Guy Grundy movie for those people, because people always ask, "Oh, you should have told me the name. I want to see that." Here, it's called Batman Dying is Easy. Right here.
Dying is Easy.
Yeah, that's the flick that the Guy Grundy's got a little part in.
Doesn't the new Zack Snyder Justice League come out next week?
Yeah, it's funny because the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League movie, which I've seen, if you have Amazon Prime, it's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it. He supposedly put more scenes in there, and they changed the way the villain looked, Steppenwolf looked. But I think that the story is essentially the same, but I think they're doing it as like a multi-part, like almost like a series, where you'd watch it on there, like 6 episodes or something like that.
Because isn't like the guy in it, the general guy, he becomes that Martian hunter in it and stuff like that. So.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what the whole premise is, if they're going to change the actual storyline, but I know you're a big Superman fanatic. I really like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's a really dark, cool Superman.
But he's got that look. I think that Superman, because you go back to Christopher Reeve, or even the comic books. Right. I think when you think of Superman, you think of someone with that he's got that distinct jawline and that almost dimple on the chin, like George Reeves had in the old TV show, even. So it's hard
I think he's also like dark. You know what I mean? I think super. I mean, he uses like his like all the other Supermans like kind of didn't really
Too
use
wholesome.
his powers very well. Like he seems to really use his powers well. You know.
Yeah. When they had Brendan Roth when they did that Superman Returns, it was good too. But like you said, it was too wholesome. It was too Superman. You need Superman to have a bit of a angry side now and then type thing. So
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. I think he's Cavill looks great. I like him in The Witcher too. Have you seen The Witcher?
Yes, that's a good thing about Henry Cavill though. He's actually been in a lot of other movies because sometimes when you get a part of Superman, so many people hate to get these roles because you get typecast. Right. But he's actually been in quite a few other movies too where he's actually done quite well. I liked him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Then he was in some other. Was he in that one? He was in Mission Impossible, the last one too. Remember with Tom Cruise?
Oh, that's right. You know, it's interesting, but I don't know if this is true, and I gotta ask him again. But I think Mike O'Hearn was up against Henry Cavill for that part of Superman. Like I think he was one of the finalists. You know, I think Mike was too old. You know, they wanted a younger guy who was going to be around for a while because movies. But that would have been cool if someone like Mike would have gotten that. But I think Cavill is a good choice. Absolutely.
Someone's asking, when is Lee going to partner with Species?
I asked you about that.
Yes. Is that when we're bringing out that product everyone keeps asking about? Yeah. Apologize.
Apologize.
That's what the NA stands for. Never apologize. Lee Priest, NA. That's my new product line, NA. Yeah. Take it or leave it. Never apologize.
You know, people. We live in such an uptight world. Have you seen what's been going on with Cuomo, Governor Cuomo?
Oh yes, having a few more women come forward now, and even the Democrats are trying to get away from him. I think, aren't they?
Yeah, but you know what? It's
nursing home and.
Right. But let's put the nursing home aside because I don't, that's something different to visit. But he really didn't he didn't rape any women. Like he didn't do anything. Like we've heard some heinous stuff like the Henry, Harvey Weinstein and
as far as what he's saying, Dave, as far as rapey goes, this wasn't too.
No, he didn't rape anyone. No, I'm saying he was just making he was hitting on these women.
He might have just touched them, kissed them, sniffed their hair, a little bit of finger pop,
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
No. Nothing wrong with that. That's not rapey.
You know what the problem is? You look. I'm. This is true story. When I was in New York and I had my Species Nutrition in the warehouse there, I used to when I would change my shirts to go in the to do my TV show from if I sometimes I put on a sport jacket or I put on a different shirt. I would go in my other office and I had this one employee. She was so uptight about everything. The door was cracked or something like that, and she's like, I saw you took your shirt. Like she was complaining that she saw me took my shirt off. I'm like, what the hell are you looking through the crack in the door for? But the point is that people, can get crazy with this whole culture now that everyone's being harassed and everyone wants to sue and a good example, good reason to get some money and notoriety. So, I haven't seen anyone come forward with some real substantial gains on Cuomo on this whole thing. But I mean, who knows? It seems like you cannot do anything. You can't cross.
Well, you can't even in the old days, you could even just be like, "Oh, how you going? Good morning," and put your hand on them and stuff like that, and just how you going? Like a nice friendly but even when you walk in and say, "Hey, you look beautiful today," you can get in trouble for that. Now you can't even tell them they look beautiful. No, it's like you don't want to say anything or do anything because it's like they could. Depending on how they feel, they can take it any way they want. Now, I felt uncomfortable the way he did this. I know there was a business here in Australia. They actually banned handshaking, like men and women shaking hands, because that was we don't need to do that anymore now either. I'm like, oh, what's it coming to next?
You remember blinkers on. I don't know if you remember. I mean, you obviously were married to a woman bodybuilder. But I mean, back in the day when I would do coaching with people, these girls would come into my hotel room. I'd be in my hotel room alone. They'd come in and pose for me. And a lot of times they would just close off, posing, because they don't want to mess their tan up. And you know what? I would be horrified to do that nowadays. I would never do that. I would always make sure I had another woman in the room or something like that because it's scary, look what happened to Sean Roden. I mean, we don't know what went on in that room, but if there was another person there, then that whole incident would have been completely gone.
Yeah, well, there's a guy that used to train people at World Gym. Carl and his wife Dawn used to compete, and they used to compete. She did pretty well, never professional, but yeah, he used to train people. He said all the time the women would come over, he would just say, "Okay, just get down so I can see how you look." And he said many times they would just strip down naked in front of him. It's like
it's true. Someone told me, I didn't know this, so I'm going to put this up. Someone just told me that the seventh Cuomo accuser came forward and said that he was grabbing her breasts. Yes, if he was grabbing her breast, that's inappropriate. I agree with that. So I didn't read that. I only read about the sixth accuser. Now there's the seventh. There'll be 25 more, I'm sure, that come forward too.
Well, maybe he was checking for lumps. He was doing a cancer check. Now we have to, we don't know. We don't want to go spursing allegations. When he grabbed them, was he doing it a professional way, like feeling for lumps, or was he going nee under the nipples or brr, brr? There's a difference. So, as far as rapey goes, there's a difference there.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I try to be. I'm always like. I always look at everything when I work with clients as like I'm a doctor and they're the patient, and so I'm always like trying to be very appropriate like that. But there are people that can misinterpret, very easily. And if you're a single person, and you have some girl, who might be coming on to you a little bit, maybe it's just a flirtatious thing and you misinterpret it. So there is obviously. Oh yeah. You could definitely get caught in a bad situation. But if there's 25 people that say you're doing the same thing, you're probably, you're probably a predator at that point,
Or that's what I've always said. If I was a professional athlete and I was single and I took any girl home, it would be like I'd be having like consent forms, like you have a contract. I'd be like, you do consent to having sex, and I want you to sign this or videotape them. Do a drug test, get a breathalyzer. She's not under the influence of alcohol or any drugs before we go any further. Because I always laugh at that bit at Jim Jeffries, because Jim Jeffries goes on about how sometimes you can get a girl and you can take her home and you'll be like, hey, and you put your hand on it. She's like, oh, stop it. And you put your hand down her pants and she's like, oh, don't, we shouldn't, don't, stop. And then he puts his hand in there and puts in, oh, stop that. He goes, yes, it's all fun and games and flirt. He goes, but trust me, when that's read back in court by her attorney, it reads like this. She said, Your Honor, stop it. Don't stop it. It doesn't quite have the same effect.
Yeah, the intonation changed quite a bit. Yeah. Well, pretty soon, everything we'll be doing will be recorded in some capacity by nano, technology. We won't be able to do anything without people seeing exactly the playback. It'll be like they'll just read your mind and they'll be able to play back exactly what happened. And so,
like the Minority Report.
The Minority Report. That's what I was thinking exactly. And then there'll be nothing open to interpretation anymore.
Yeah, it's like they'd come busting through your door because they already know you're going to commit the murder.
Right, before you even did it, they'll arrest you. Now, Lee, I always get asked this question, so let me finally ask it to you. Who won the '97 Olympia in your mind, Dorian or someone else?
Well, me being there and seeing it, as much as I like Dorian and as freaky as he was, because that's when Dorian was probably starting to come apart with his injuries, I would have easily given it to NASA, 97.
Yeah, me too.
Even though Dorian from the back was unbeatable, that's only when they say shows are one from the back. Okay, if you've got a back pose, that's fine, but there's the side chest, side tricep, abs, front double bicep, front lat spread. There is more than just the back pose. So,
well, when I interviewed Dorian, he broke it down for me and he said, let's say I lose the front double bicep. Okay. I win the front lat spread, I win the side poses, because he got that great, crazy side leg and calf and all that stuff. And I win the back lat spread for sure, even if I lose the back double bicep, but NASA really doesn't have a better back double bicep than me. And, maybe, ab thigh, he wins. He's got one of the best ab thighs. And then even if he loses most muscular, he still wins because he won, the majority of the poses. Now, I don't, when you break it down like that, you can see it that way. But my overall impression being there in '97 in Long Beach was that Dorian just looked bedraggled. He looked almost like he didn't look like the normal Dorian. He looked vulnerable to me. And Nasser just looked very crisp.
And Nasser's waist was nice and tight that year and stuff. So
he looked the best. I thought, maybe not the best ever, but he was really, really good there.
It could have easily went either way. Like if Nasser had won, I don't think anyone would have complained about it. And
if Dorian wasn't a 5-time Olympia champ, I don't think he would have won. Put it that way. I think the fact that he was Mr. Olympia clinched it for him.
I've been watching the shows lately. I see Mr. G's in the training for Lenny.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Mr. G is going to fight Big Lenny now in the Octagon, and they both agree to it. I try to squash the whole thing and get them to both, just like say, let's not do it. But they both want to fight each other. Like Lenny wants it for the views. Mr. G needs redemption.
I thought it was funny though, because I can see where, Lenny was just, upset because he hadn't got his cookies, and he goes, "Oh, he's a total moron," whatever. But I can understand. I can't really see him taking that too personally, because that's not nothing really bad. But I always thought, as someone said once, that Mr. G was this calm, quiet. He's saying, "What Lenny did ruined my business." I don't know. The way Mr. G went off like a nutter.
Yeah, Mr. G lost his mind. But you know what? Because he's very, he wears his, loyalty on his sleeve. And that's why I think that was the problem, But I think he overreacted a little bit, because I don't think you could ever take Big Lenny that seriously. That's so. I kind of felt, I figured maybe we'll get him on and we'll broker the peace, but obviously that didn't happen.
It makes for good viewing. It's entertaining anyway, so it's funny.
Romano's like, let's just see bloodshed here. Let's see bloodshed.
Yeah. I reckon they should do that how you had up the other guy that time. I think Lenny and Mr. G could do the slapping match.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be good? Like that Russian synthol guy, bazooka gun guy.
Just boom. They can stand there and just whack each other in the face. I think
that Big Lenny might win the slapping match, only because he outweighs Mr. G by quite a bit.
But I think it all depends too. I've watched a few of those slapping matches. It seems to be where they hit him. Some hit here, but if some get him in that sweet spot, then some, when they slap too, some use this part of the meaty hand where it's really hard and crack them right on the chin. So it's like, some of those people go to fall down.
But body weight has to come into play though, too. You know what I mean? If you throw 350 pounds behind your slap, you're gonna knock that person off their feet, So,
and the thing is, like you said, the height, because some of them are slapping up. If you've got the thing and you're coming down, it's like, you got to have like a meat cleaver hand to really be good at that. My thing is that, I think that, in a fight, like an MMA fight, which they both agreed to do, I have to believe that Mr. G is in better cardiovascular conditioning than Lenny. And that's the only reason I think Lenny's very strong. I just don't think cardiovascularly he can keep up with Mr. G for more than 30 seconds. But what do you think? No, I don't think so. I think Big Lenny might tap out from breath, but if he gets in quick and that, he might be okay. If he gets in quick and grabs him, because if Big Lenny gets you from behind, you're either going to get two things: choked out or ass raped. So it's like Mr. G won't know what's coming. He's going for the sleeper hole. Which do I protect? Do I have to, go for the top or the bottom? And then if he does get choked out and pass out, Lenny might not stop. He might like that. He might be like Bill Cosby on the roofies. Whoa.
He might not do that, because I want to get Jacqueline Boying, his Lenny 10-10-10 there. That black man who looks like
that could be worse. That could be Big Lenny and Boying tag team and knocked out bloody Mr. G. Mr. G might wake up with some new type of cookie in his face.
Cream filling, right? Yeah.
Oh God,
it's funny. All these guys are like, the whole crew is all of Lenny's crew. There is, they're harassing Mr. G. Like I said, they post shit about me, but I don't even notice it because I don't even look at the comments because I don't have time. But Mr. G, he was getting upset about it at first. I'm like, who cares? You'll sell more cookies from it.
You will eventually, because people that don't know if you're going to go over to the site and go, hey, that looks good, and I might buy some. So all the haters hate. The more haters you have, you always get more followers. You get more attention, and out of, like I said, if they send haters to you, out of 200, you might get another 120 that hang around and like you, and the other 80 might go, yeah, he's a dickhead, but you just gained another 120 followers or so, more potential customers.
It's funny because someone said, I think it was Valentino, said that he should make Mr. G should make a big Lenny cookie that comes with a cookie cutter to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Like a pizza cutter.
Yeah, exactly. Because Lenny's not a cookie cutter, but we'll put a cookie cutter in with it.
Ashley Silhouette. Methalize. I've never done meth.
Me neither. I know people who have.
What's meth? Isn't that they smoke it? Is that meth or?
Meth is crystal meth or methamphetamines, but it's like you can snort it, you can smoke it. When I was in prison, there were guys there who were like meth addicts, and a lot of these guys smoked it, and their teeth were like completely eroded away. They were rotted away. They were like brown, black teeth. And because it when you smoke it, it disintegrates your teeth. It's the chemicals like very acidic, supposedly. Is
it like crack? Because crack addicts are missing teeth a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if it does the same thing, but the problem is, I guess, with the with crystal meth, it's like, I don't, and like I said, I've never used it, but supposedly it's like, I always figured that stimulants were like, drugs that would prevent you from being aroused and having erections and stuff like that. Because if you do too much like caffeine or something like that, I don't think it makes you it doesn't make you horny. Supposedly like crystal meth and stuff like that makes you crazy. Like people have sex for like days on the stuff, crack too. So
what's the difference between, like I said, I tried the cocaine once. Now, what's the difference between crack cocaine or rock cocaine? Is that the same, but they just smoke it, or is it a whole different substance?
I think they add. I think it's like a whole chemical process of putting something with baking soda and everything like that. And
so you can clean your insides out and get it.
I don't know the whole chemical process, but they make a rock out of it. That's what the crack is. And they break it off and they like smoke these little pieces of the rock.
So cheap. Someone said it's a cheap man's cocaine. So yeah. I always figure the cheaper it is, the worse it is probably for you.
It is. It definitely is. But it's funny because when you could see like a guy will go to jail for 5 years for like a bag of crack, whereas like you have to have like 2 kilos of cocaine to go away for the same amount of time. And the 2 kilos of cocaine is worth a hell of a lot more money. So you see a lot of people in prison for a ridiculous amount of time for virtually nothing, like almost like a personal supply of the stuff.
Can you overdose snorting cocaine? I guess you could overdose on any drug.
Absolutely, especially on a stimulant. You give yourself a heart attack. That's how you overdose on it. Now, obviously like heroin and opiates are dangerous because they suppress your respiration. So if you do too much of them, you could actually just stop breathing, and that's how people OD on that stuff.
Well, I think that's how isn't that how like Heath Ledger and a lot of those people die? Because I remember even like Elvis, they used to say he used to take a lot of stuff to get him hyped, but then to sleep they'd take all those, like you said, the Valiums and stuff to sleep. And they'd go to sleep so much that you said the heart rate would slow right down, they would stop, and then you'd have the ones that would take, I think wasn't Heath Ledger taking all those prescribed ones and he just went to sleep and didn't wake up, they said, because it just slowed down? Or
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, from too many sleeping pills, you can definitely do that. I mean,
I've known of people that go out drinking and stuff and doing drugs, and then they get all those sleeping pills, take it, and then while they're sleeping, they throw up and choke on their vomit, and they don't wake up.
Yeah, you can aspirate. Yeah, that's dangerous too. Like anytime you're playing with a lot of drugs and you're doing polypharmacy, uppers and downers at the same time, it's Russian roulette. You're just, it's only a matter of time. It's not like if you're going to kill yourself, it's when. And I know, I have a lot of friends that were, heavily into drugs and they couldn't stop. And unfortunately they died eventually, and I don't know if they purposely wanted to do it. I always said, you know what, it wasn't that they wanted to kill themselves. It's that they didn't care if they did. And so they weren't like purposely going out there trying to kill themselves. But I think they pushed the line so much that they said, well, if I do die, it's not the end of the world. Like they don't care if they do.
Well, then maybe too, when you get on it and you're that far into it and you've taken that much, your mind's messed up. They just keep taking it. They lose track of what they're taking. Then they're like, oh, I'll just take some more. And then you're probably thinking to yourself, that could kill me. Then you're like, it doesn't matter. I guess it's like when bodybuilders get to that point, it's not going to kill you straight away with steroids. They start thinking, maybe I'm taking too much, but I'll take more and I'll do this more, or it could do damage to my liver and kidneys. Doesn't matter. I'm going to take more. I think you get that mentality. But with those type of drugs, cause you loopy, I'll just take a bit more. It doesn't matter. Oh, I feel good if I die. It doesn't matter.
I was with a bunch of guys, bodybuilders at a club, and I'm not going to mention who this happened to, but it happened to a couple people. And I've seen them like just they're out. They're sitting down or whatever, and they're just out. And I think both times it was GHB related, GHB. But I thought they were dead. I literally said, "That's it. This person is dead." They couldn't speak. They could non-coherent, and we didn't. I didn't even know what to do. I was like in a panic, and then they started like kind of like they started making a little bit of sounds, and so we had left the club, and left this person there with their wife who was watching over this person, and we went to another club, and like 2 hours later, Lee, this other person, after they come into the club. They're like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, you were almost dead like 2 hours ago. I think you should go home probably." "No, I'm fine. Everything's great." So
I remember at one of the Arnold Classic after parties, because sometimes you'd have to go to the after party. It could have been the Olympia after party, because they're the ones you had to go to. Because I never went to after party, so it had to be the Olympia because I had to go, because back in the day they made you go. I remember seeing the owner of a big company back then, and one of his top female girls, she was passed out, throwing up on the floor, and he was all like that, pissing in his pants. I think it might have been from GHB, because that's when around that time GHB was the great big drug everyone was taking the party on. Like I said, here's this fitness girl that just competed, did well, throwing up everywhere, and he's peeing himself, and he's the owner of this big company. I'm like, that's a good look. I like it. That's a good look.
I know someone in our industry that happened to too. We had a meeting like it was like, I think it was after the USA Championships. There was a meeting on Sunday, and this person must have been doing GHB all night. And when they got to the meeting, they were still having problems with GHB. And it's funny because everyone knew, like, and so it was like, luckily, if it was any other meeting for any other like business, like that business would have been like, this guy there's no way I'm doing business with this person, But because it was bodybuilding, they're like, all right, yeah, he's on GHB, he'll be all right,
He's still recovering from the night before. He'll be okay.
That's right. Yeah. But people like drugs, like when you're in a bodybuilding industry, like drugs don't like intimidate like bodybuilders, even the guys that own the businesses, because they just know that it's part of the game, so to speak. Not that it makes it good or anything like that, but
like I said, I've done that cocaine, and the next day you feel crappy. The next day after that you feel worse. But the thing that I always hate worse than anything is because my whole life I've never drank. When I drink alcohol, that makes me feel worse than anything. Oh my God, alcohol.
Would you
getting it down's hard enough? It's like if I'm being social with the wife, I'll have to hold my nose and drink it like this. But if I smell it while I'm drinking it, I'm like, I'm dry reaching. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I think there must be some alcohol. What's the best alcohol? People go, if you get the top vodka and you mix it with something you can't taste it. I can fucking taste it, and if I can taste it, I can't drink it. I need even in those fucking fruity drinks with the fucking umbrella in it, I can taste it. So I need something.
I think if a Long Island iced tea is made well, it's like 4 different liquors or something like that. You can't taste the alcohol. It tastes like an iced tea, and you drink one of those and you're toast. Now let me ask you this question: would you ever fight Sean Ray in the Octagon, like Mr. G is fighting?
Yes, I would. For charity, yes, I would.
Okay, you donate the money to animal safety, right?
Whatever they want to donate it to.
Right. Would you beat him?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to put tickets on myself, but it would be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if I beat him, then they'll call me racist.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, probably. Now, if you ever got, look, you're like me. I don't think you're really a big fighter, But if you were a fighter, like if you got into a fight with someone, it's like if Sean Ray, which he would never do because he's not a fighter either. But if he attacked you in a bar, like would you fight dirty or just to?
No, I don't like dirty fighting. It'd be like a proper stand-up fight. If someone went down, I'd wait for him to get back up. Yes, I don't like that.
Okay.
The type of fighting people do today when they fight, then when someone's down, they kick them and that shit, or it might start off one-on-one. You see it now, we start off one-on-one, but then when someone goes down, his mates jump in and start putting the boot in there. That's just dirty shit. It's like, I remember the old days, you'd see people have a fight, they'd go outside the bar, they'd go have an argument, get into a fist fight, one guy will win, then when it's over, it's done. They go back inside and buy each other a drink. That was it. End of story. Now you get into a fight with one guy, they get dirty, get kicked on the ground. The guy ends up winning. The loser leaves, come back with his mates, either tries to stab you or fucking shoot up the bar. It's not like it used to be, you know. It's like,
well, they don't even do that anymore, Lee. Nowadays they just sue you, right? Everyone like wants to have everyone arrested and sued. It's when I was at my biggest, there was a guy who lived across the street from me, and I don't talk to the neighbors. I never talk to my neighbors purposely. Now it's funny nowadays where I live now, I know all my neighbors, but back in the day in New York, I didn't talk to any of my neighbors purposely because and it was a bar across the street from where I lived. I lived on the water, so there was like a little like water, you know, like you pull your boat up there, you can drink. And this guy comes out of the bar drunk as a skunk and said something nasty to me or something like that. Or he was screaming at his wife, like hitting her or something like that. I said, hey, bro, you want to take it easy? He's like, mind your fucking business. and he started like mouthing off to me, and I went nuts. I like just snapped. I think it was on Trembolone. And I said, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? And I was like, fuck you. And he's like, yeah, I'll kick your ass. I said, you know what? And I came in his face and I was screaming in his face. Like I said, and she's like, no, please don't. I said, he shouldn't be talking to you like that, not in front of my house. And I was like screaming at this guy. He's like, and he was like talking big talk. I said, come on, you hit me and I'll finish this in 3 seconds. And he's like, I'll call the cops on you. So he went from this big talking guy, like he was going to beat the crap out of me. As soon as he realized that I was pissed off and I was going to fight this guy, and I probably weighed 300 pounds at the time, he all of a sudden was calling the cops on me already. So that's always the case with bullies. Bullies love to like talk a big game until someone else comes around, puts them in their place, then they want to call the police and have them arrested.
That's where I always figure, like when people say with Sean Ray and stuff, I should go up and hit him. Now, Sean's the type, if I did just walk up and hit him in an expo, he'd be the first one to sue me.
Oh,
he'd love to. Yeah, so no, it's like, to me, fighting doesn't accomplish anything anyway. Like, unless you're being paid to do it or you're doing it for charity, really. It's like wars. Wars really don't. All wars do is make people money. They don't really accomplish anything in the end. So, but maybe when you're at school, fighting was good. But, you know, it's just now these days, it's like people, I'll fight you, I'll do this, I'll do that. It's like, whatever. If that's what you want to do, do it. But sadly, now you see it here where some young kids, one young kid here was only like 20, got into a fight in town a couple of weeks ago, hits a guy that's partially drunk, fucking whacks him. The guy falls down, cracks his head, kills him. So now this guy's off to jail. It's like, you know, they have the one punch thing here now where you go to jail pretty much straight away if they die because once you're unconscious and you hit your head on the sidewalk or the concrete, these people are dying. So, you make one split decision and pretty much your life's over. So
there'll be no more fights anymore anyway, Lee, because no one goes out and there's social distancing. No one even talks to and matter of fact, no one even talks to each other anymore. All these keyboard warriors, you got all these people who are big shots online because they know that the reality is that they never leave the house and they're never going to see anyone in public anyway. So,
well, I'd always get that. Because it's been over 30 odd years. I get these people. If I see you, Lee, I'm going to do this and go there. I said, I'm a hitman's wet dream. I go to the same gym at the same time. I eat at the same coffee shop. If I do travel, I say, look, okay, you want to beat me up or you want to come see me? I'm at this expo from Friday to Sunday. I'm going to be at this booth from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come on by. No one ever does. No one ever shows up. No. It's like, but what they do is you don't watch cricket, but in cricket they have this. If the bowler bowls the ball and the guy just misses it and it goes past the stumps, they have this like computer thing where it will show if the ball had kept going on that trajectory, it would have hit the stumps and the guy would have been out like leg before wicket or whatever, or if it would have gone over. Now with social distancing, that's how you fight. Yeah. You got to fight 1.5 meters apart, throw a punch, and the computer will analyze if that punch would have actually hit him in the face or in the stomach to score points. It's all going to be done by computers and that. Yeah. How you going, Nick? I'm on with Dave live. My mate Nick turned up. Pop your head and say hello to Dave.
What's up, Nick? Mate? How's it going? You're not social distancing, Lee.
I know. I'm not social distancing. But no, it's all a waste of time. Nick likes to fight people. He gets mad about the people that write stuff on there. He's like, tell them to turn up, I'll beat their head in.
Yeah.
when I'm doing the lives on Instagram and people are writing shit, he goes, you tell that little cunt to show up at the gym, I'll fuck him.
Getting back to my original, I want to, now that we started the show, I want to wrap up the show with getting back to the original, thing I wanted to say is that, you're a person who really speaks their mind. You're very funny. You say things more in a sarcastic way. And in today's culture where no one can take a joke and everyone is being sexually harassed and everyone is being canceled, and they want to, get everyone 1 minute they're on top of the world. The next minute they're like, they're tossing them to the curb. It's got to be frustrating to be a person now who speaks from their heart and says what they believe, whether you agree with you or not. And now, people calling you, some people trying to call you a racist and some people saying other crap to you. Does that affect you emotionally? Because it's got to bother you at some level. Like I dismiss it, I don't care about it. But at some point, I find it like almost like
I know.
Disappointing.
I know what you're getting at here, Dave. I know.
No, I'm not going there. That could be another show. But I'm saying, do you find it disappointing in humanity that people can't just laugh? And that
because years ago you could just have a laugh, and people took it as a laugh, because I've always said there's a big difference in hating what someone says and hate speech. Like someone can say something, you go, "Oh, I hate what he said," but that's not hate speech just because you don't like what somebody said. It's like there's a whole big difference now where people just throw everything under this racism banner pretty much, or hate speech, or you can't say that because that'll offend people. And I've always said, let's just say I say something and there's a group, say I'm doing a seminar and 200 people are there and I crack a joke, 195 people go, "Oh, that was funny." 5 people go, "Oh, I'm offended, that was terrible," blah, blah, blah. And then sadly, that small group is what people apologize to. So you go back and go, "Well, I'm sorry," blah, blah, blah. And so I apologize to them. And somehow in this apology, the 195 people who laughed at the first time, let's just say now 60 of them are offended from my apology to these 5. So you're never going to please everybody. But as long as it's coming across in a joking way, because look at comedians back in the old days. And like I said, the TV shows, we knew it was comedy. It wasn't done in malice. It was just done in humor and comedy. And that's what people are losing these days. I remember watching shows back in the old days with friends of different races, different religions, and the TV shows or the movies were about races and religions poking fun of each other, like over the Life of Brian movies and Blazing Saddles. I remember watching that, and people of color were laughing and shit like that. It's like, it was funny. We could laugh. No one cared. But
someone sent me, I don't know if you sent me, but someone sent me one of these, a link to one of the Dean Martin celebrity roasts they used to do back in the day. And they were roasting Sammy Davis Jr., who was obviously an African-American, and he had converted, he was a Jew. He had adopted the Jewish religion, and they were torturing him. All the comedians were going up there making black jokes and Jewish jokes about him.
And they were laughing.
His ass off. It was,
That's how it should be. And like I remember, there's a funny one, if I can find it, I'll send it to you. There's one where Don Rickles, because he was like...
Rickles was on there too. He was on that one,
Yeah, but Don Rickles, when he went out to this baseball team, I'll have to find the clip, and he's going along interviewing people, and there's a mixture of like the white Americans. I think there's a couple of Cuban players, and he was making jokes about how they got into the country. "Oh, better be quiet now or I'll put you back on the plantation." I mean, and these guys were laughing. It was just, it was so funny. No one took it serious because they knew it was done in humor. It wasn't done in a malice way to bring them down or say I'm a better race than you, because he was putting shit on everyone. And that's the thing. When people call me racist, I say, no, yes, I do hate people. I hate everyone equally, so that doesn't make me racist. I don't think the whites are better than the blacks or the Jews are better than the Christians. And that, it's like everyone's equal. Hate yous all.
Right. There's nothing. Look, I make fun of myself, because you can't take yourself too seriously. If you do, then you're almost acting as though you're better than other people. And I think we're all, I know we're all equal. We're all come from the same clay, so to speak. We come from the same spirit, and we all are just having a different experience on this planet that we call Earth, and in this reality that we call the human reality, or the physical material world. And at the end of the day, we're the same, and so
exactly. And to me, it's like no one's better than anybody else. That's why I hate it too when people. I'd still get embarrassed today when people come up, oh my God, you're Lee Priest, you're Lee Priest. Look, I'm just Lee. I'm a dickhead. I like to joke around. Oh no, but you're Lee Priest. I said, look, so what? I had a pro card. That doesn't make me any better than you or anyone else. The average guy that goes to the gym and trains to bust his ass to look good, just because I had a pro card doesn't make me better than him. I might have had better genetics and a different work ethic, that I went in a different path, but deep down it doesn't make me any better than him. I'm good at bodybuilding. He might be a fucking great plumber. So we're all good at something, and just because he might not be a great bodybuilder doesn't mean I'm better than him. He's good at what he does. We're all good at whatever we do, no matter what job it is or what we do in life. So no one's better than anybody, unless you're the captain of a plane and it's about to crash, and he's a little bit better until he gets us leveled out again, then it's okay. But until that point, no, we're all just as good. I don't put anyone over anybody else. It's like, it's just ridiculous. And that's where I think we're losing it these days, where, like I said, you say something now and it's just taken out I don't know how these small minority people now get the biggest voices. That's what's beyond me, because even with that Oprah interview with the Duchess and, it's not a Duchess, is she now, Meghan Markle and Harry, the whole interview, 2 hours long, what's the main thing to come out of that? Racism in the palace. Racism in the palace. I'm like, oh, really? That's what you took away from that whole interview and stuff like that? So
I didn't watch something. My man watched it, but I watched parts of it. What did you think of that?
It's a bit weird, because I just don't think some of the stuff, I'm not saying she doesn't have mental issues and stuff. Everyone has mental issues, but for her to say that when she brought up, it was just past, I don't know. It's like when you listen to what her father says sometimes, saying she's not who she seems, that he could be right or whatever. It just, like, to me, it's like, if you're moving away from the limelight because you want to get out of the limelight, you don't want to do this, you don't go doing interviews like that on Oprah, because boom, you're all everyone's talking about now. So how's that getting away from and living a quiet life?
I think the problem is that they need to make money. So you do the Oprah interview, you do a reality show, and now they can make their own money. They don't have to depend on the royals' money. But look, he was always the
redheaded stepchild. Is that what?
Yeah, he was. Because, but you know what? But I can understand it, because in the way the British monarchy works is that the first son is the king. He becomes.
This is how I see it. I see it like this too. When you look at Charles and you look at his brother, who's going to be the king, then you look at Harry. Then you look at that guy who said that he slept with Diana and Harry's his kid. You know that what was his name? The butler guy or whatever, who has red hair and looks just like Harry.
Oh, I think this is what it. I think he's Harry. Yeah, the father.
Yeah, I think that. So I think what it is, they know that's really Harry's father, and this is all just a ploy. They said, "Listen, mate, when you get to your 30th birthday, Gornsky, you're out of the castle."
You think that might be the deal there?
Yeah.
Could be.
Before anyone starts pulling DNA, you're out of here. Piss off.
Well, that's why they probably wanted William married off and with kids immediately, because obviously, if God forbid Prince Charles got killed and William did, his kid would be the next in line.
If I'm Harry and Meghan, I wouldn't be going to Paris anytime soon, driving through tunnels. That's all I'm going to say. It could be another one of those car accidents.
Right. The best thing that ever happened to him, to be honest with you, is to get out of that whole thing. He didn't like the whole British thing with all the rituals anyway. You know what? They didn't treat his wife well. You are still a royal in everyone's eyes. You're a celebrity. Use your celebrity. I don't know if I would have gone on Oprah and done that, but he could certainly use the celebrity nature to do a reality show. People would love to watch, what his life is like.
He was on
watching that crap.
The week before, he was on that is it James Corbin, where he was on the double-decker bus. And that was really funny. It was relaxed. He was having like a cup of tea up on the bus driving around LA, and that. And he took him to the French where they filmed Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and all that sort of stuff. You're the Prince of LA now and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it was done. It was good. But he even says he gets on great with his grandmother. So the grandmother's not the problem and stuff like that. So she seems like a nice old lady, the queen. And, but it's just, I just don't like when people put all their dirty laundry out in there, because their lives are pretty much stuck in the public eye as it is. You don't need to go put more shit out there for them to speculate.
The British monarchy is probably the most stuck-up, conservative bunch of
pip tally-ho.
The problem is that they live forever. Those. I mean, she's been the queen for what, like 70 years or something like that. Or maybe more, and,
I think
and
she's what,
still
90
in good health. She's going to be around for a long time. So,
well, her mother lived to 100 and something. And I think she became queen when her father died around 20 or something. And she's 93 now. So
that's 70, almost 73 years. Yeah. She's been queen.
And that would be hard to do too, to figure at that age going into the royalty like that, where you are scrutinized and you do have to be prim and proper and act all. Can you imagine? Hey, can you imagine meeting the royal family?
Yeah.
How could you imagine?
I think about my father. I'm like, can you imagine if my father, with the way his opinionated, self he was, and the way he saw the world, if they said, you know what, Sal, you're the king of England now. You make all the rules. It would have been a nightmare. This queen is amazing. My dad would have been a tyrant. He would have, especially in his old age, he would have been screaming, kicking people out of the palace.
Send them to the Tower of London.
That's right. My father would have been like, off with his head, that kind of thing. So I think she's doing a pretty good job,
I would have loved it. I'll be out there. I'll be out, when the tourists go to Buckingham Palace, because whenever I go to London, I go past Buckingham Palace. I'll be out there when the tourists are there. I'll be out there on the balcony. Hi.
Right.
I'll be doing these Iron Rages live from Buckingham Palace out on the balcony. Look at these idiots down here. The Queen will be like, Lee, get inside. Get yourself inside.
The British monarchy, I think, is I think I read an article. It was like they're the wealthiest people in the world. Like they have the most money of anyone anywhere. They control everything, and it makes sense. Think about it. When the British Empire was around conquering different, the whole world. What do you think they did? They did it for money. They did it. They wanted control of everything, and they wanted the money. So even though the monarchy eventually became not as important in terms of running the political workings of the government, and they actually, had a Congress and whatever they have over their parliament, they're still very wealthy. So they still have a lot to say on what goes on, even though they're not making policy anymore.
And it's funny when you look back to how small that country is, but yet all the conquering that even old Paul Revere on his horse, the British are coming. The British are coming.
They said the sun never set on the British Empire because it was so spread everywhere that someplace in the world it was light. Someplace. And that's
it's crazy. It's like for such a, like I said, when you look at the country on the map, it's like it's so tiny, but yet it went out everywhere. It's like them and
whenever they had
Romans,
problems, they sent all their prisoners over to Australia, right? They got rid of them over there.
Yeah. And look how we turned out.
Yeah, and then people wonder why, Lee, you're such a rebel. Your whole family heritage are criminals, So.
I know. I always blame it on, because when I go to England, they're like, "Oh, you got kicked out." I said, "We didn't get kicked out." I said, "My ancestors were just smart enough to know if they stole a loaf of bread, they could leave this fucked up place. So they got on a boat to Australia, and luckily they made it, of course. So hey." Yes.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad you got these little parts coming up. The documentary shoot. Do you have a name for the documentary that you guys are filming?
Not yet. Dave, watch Jose's comments regarding you and Lee. He nailed it. Lee is misunderstood. He says and does stupid shit and needs to be accountable. Same goes for what? Who's Jose?
Does he mean Jose Raymond? I don't know.
How do I need to be accountable? I just say whatever's on my mind. See, this is the stuff where, look, when I come on here or any other thing, I come on and be myself. I'm not on here to appease the people or act a certain way to get likes or views or to be something I'm not. I don't need to be held accountable for what? Like, did I murder somebody? Did I rape somebody? It's like, what the fuck? Was it Jose Raymond? Is that who they're talking about? I'll have to go watch his show if that's the case. Jose Raymond, come on, he sits on there with that guy on that podcast and puts me to sleep. I just can't stand.
We'll get Jose on for Heavy Muscle Radio. We can debate him if that was really what he said. I can't imagine he said it, but it's possible. Who knows?
It's the only Jose I know, unless he's talking about Jose who just come across the border. I don't know. He's talking about the gardener Jose. I don't know, with Jesus. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? But like I said, I don't need to be held accountable. It's like, you don't like me, don't listen to me, don't follow me. It's like quite simple. When you see Dave putting up a thing saying Lee and I coming on live, don't click on and watch, or then click on and go, oh, these two fuckwits again. What sort of a fuckwit would watch a fuckwit that they hate the fuckwit they're watching and then just sit there watching it, complaining about it?
Right. You know what? You're right. There's a million podcasts to watch nowadays. So much so that I don't watch any of them because I don't have time unless someone like sends me a link with a timestamp or something like that. But so, you know, sometimes people like it, and I always say the truth hurts, you know, and it hurt. I have to say it to myself sometimes because sometimes people tell me the truth and I'm like, yeah, it does hurt. I don't want to hear it sometimes, but
the truth, I don't think the truth hurts. I think if we just accept the truth and take the truth and whatever that truth may be, you don't need to be hurt by it because, you know, a rectal exam, that hurts. The truth doesn't hurt, you know. It's like getting the colonoscopy, or they put you out for that now, but I chose to stay awake for mine. So, you know, I quite enjoyed it. I actually paid them to do it. So, it's like, people, it's like, yeah, Jose Raymond, the truth hurt. I don't care about what people say. It's like, really?
Here's the question I'll end the show with. The Big Lenny, Mr. G fight.
Mm-hmm.
Who will fight the winner? That is the question. Will there be a super fight too? You know, someone like who's waiting in the wings who says, "I want the winner." You know,
there's going to be they're going to want a rematch, like it always happens when someone beats somebody else. They're going to be like, "I wasn't ready," or "I didn't do this," or "I wasn't carved up enough. I got a cramp." There's going to be some sort of like bodybuilding shows. I had a stomach bug. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't sleep the night before. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, it's like
I'm going to make everyone sign releases that if anyone dies, I want no responsibility whatsoever. I'm against the whole thing.
No. Well, thank you, Frank Breezy. First time to catch a live show. Well, thank you. And then Jason says Lenny will croak. Fuad will fight the winner. No, he won't. He's too busy trying to work out his diet and training program. Eddie Hall will fight the winner. I'm just giving a few people here a shout out. Apologize, Leo, and Lenny. I'll never apologize, but that's going to be my new product from Species with Dave. Apologize.
Yeah.
Ask Lee, should obvious side injections? No, side injections are stupid because look, I've said this before. If you think putting a needle in the arm or the shoulder is going to make that muscle bigger, it won't. It'll inflame it for a little bit because look at the glutes. That's one of the biggest muscles in the body. Most people do their glutes. We'd all have asses like Kim Kardashian if side injections made the muscle bigger. Right. We don't. So, no.
I think with the side injection thing, what happens is a lot of times is when you're putting like oil or something into a muscle, you can feel the muscle a little better because it's kind of got little irritation, a little more pump there, maybe a little inflammation. So sometimes it actually helps you train that muscle better. I found that when I was back in the day, I would put maybe like a half cc in my upper pecs. And I found like when I trained chest, I actually was more like I had more of a mind muscle connection to that. I don't think the actual drug built muscle there, but I think it helped me to train that muscle because I was able to feel it more.
I did this twice. I twice did a leg shot in one leg once. I'm like, that didn't hurt.
Bad.
A day later, I couldn't lift my leg. I couldn't tense my leg. So for a week, I couldn't train it. And someone goes, "Oh, maybe you hit a nerve." I said, "Okay, I'll try the other side." Same thing. So never again. And then once remember when Esticline was the big thing. Esticline, So I put Esticline in my bicep once. It felt like the worst bee sting ever. I went to the gym to try and train, and it was that sore. I couldn't even go over 20 pounds. I couldn't train it properly. I said, so what the fuck's point of this? Like, if I can't train, how's it going to benefit me? So I never did it again. I never shot the legs again or anything. I'm like, bugger that. So no.
It's you have to have a certain look to your muscles to site inject. If you don't, like some people who site inject have no muscle and they think they're going to create muscle out of the site injection, and what they just look like is it looks like a bag of oil in their arm, and so it doesn't even look good. Guys who have some muscle there and then site inject seem to get better results from it. So, you know, you can't create muscle out of nothing, and that's the take home message.
Maybe I'll inject it into my temple and see if I can grow a brain, Dave. That might help.
Yeah, exactly. Shoot it into your eyeballs. I know some guy who shot it into his penis once. I said, "You are out of your freaking mind." I think did Boston Lloyd tell me he did that? I don't know. Someone that we know tried that once, and obviously it was a bad idea. So
I used to have a friend because as I was bulked up in the day, I could never really get my glute. So my friend goes, "This is how I do it, Lee, and this is what he'd do. He'd get the loaded syringe, say it's got 3 cc's in it. He'd put the butt of it on the wall, and he'd back his ass up onto it and just push against it on the wall, and the wall would push it into his fucking ass." I'm like, "Oh, fuck that!"
I think Valentino said he did that too.
Did he do that too? Oh, yeah, my mate used to do that. Yes, hold it against the wall, then he'd just back his ass onto it, and because his ass is on the needle now and that's on the wall, he'd just push back on it, and the wall would. Imagine if it slipped. I'd slip and it would snap off, and it'd be like. Oh.
People want me to give the big Lenny credit. Look, realistically, if Lenny trains for this fight for 6 months and Mr. G trains for the fight for 6 months, I pray to the guys that we have a fun. That'll be number one, that no one gets hurt seriously. Number two, that they put on a good show, that Lenny actually gets in good shape and gets some endurance going, and maybe this is a good impetus for him to actually get himself into shape, cardiovascularly speaking, and stop getting so big, which is probably putting a big strain on his heart. So maybe this will be a good idea, because he even said, I'm not going to do the Ruby Classic. I'm going to work on getting in the best shape of my life so that I can fight Mr. G. So maybe this will actually save his life in the long run. So
I think maybe in 6 months his anger is going to be gone and they won't even want to do it. Like, what are we?
I'll say this one thing about Lenny. Hold on, I want to say one thing about Lenny. Lenny is a naturally very strong guy. I know he is. I can see it. He's a powerful guy. That's why he played football. He was powerlifting. He's got a lot of strength. So if he ever got himself in shape where he can move and throw punches, he would be dangerous. I wouldn't want to fight him in a fight, because I think that he would be very, very dangerous if he ever connected a shot on you. Having said that, can Big Lenny at 340 now get himself into shape and fight? I don't know. That we'll find that out, right? If he does, he will be dangerous for sure. I'll give him that.
Lenny looks like that person that could go into that. When you see those people that go, I'm not saying he's crazy, but you get those people that just go into that mindset and they just get that crazy strength where it takes like.
I know you're going to say you're always going to be canceled again by the comment that you're going to make.
I was not. But he just has that look to where he could go into that zone. He
could be super dangerous. I don't know if he can get himself into shape at this point and lose the weight that he needs to be athletic.
But being 340, if he's around 340, he could probably take a few hits from Mr. G. And unless Mr. G gets him in a sweet spot, I think he could take a bit of hitting. So, hey, if he can take a 10-inch cock up his ass, he can take a
hey. I put it this way: I wouldn't want to hit Lenny in the head. You probably break your hand.
Hey, listen. I'd rather a punch to the face than a 10-inch cock up my ass. So if he can do, if he can do that, a hit to the face is nothing. Jesus, Mr. G better come guns a blazing.
Mr. G might not be able to take him out. You're right. He might be too.
He'd be like, "Is that it? Is that all you got?
That's all you got?" Right.
I've had boing up my backside. Hey, that's nothing.
Like Rocky in Rocky 3. You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad.
Or Rocky 4, where he's like, "Hit me harder. Hit me harder than that."
If he does that to Mr. G after Mr. G hits him with his best shot, Mr. G better fucking leave the ring.
You better start backing up.
You better change your mind and get out of the ring and apologize to Lenny at that point.
Yeah. That'd be the worst thing. If you hit someone with your best shot and they just stand there looking at you, then you'd be like, "Oh,
that's
okay."
Scary. I know. That's scary. I know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for joining us live here again tonight for Iron Rage. We had missed last week, so I wanted to get Lee on. I know Lee had a lot going on in his schedule.
Hi, Anthony from New Zealand.
Oh, you got the New Zealand fans too, right here in the backyard.
Just over the pond.
Who else is up there? Let me see. I saw Xavier Wills earlier on Desktop Bodybuilding. I don't know if he's still watching. Probably fell asleep. By the way, he has Xavier has a GoFundMe account for his wife. His wife has breast cancer. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah. She was. They have 4 kids. 2 of hers from previous marriage, and then Xavier and her have 2 kids together that are really young. And she has some. She just found out, unfortunately, that she has breast cancer, and it's pretty serious. So, they could definitely use the money. So definitely go to his GoFundMe page and donate if you can. I actually tried to do it the other
sister-
day, and my credit card wasn't working on that. I don't know why, but he's gonna get that fixed up. But
my sister reminds me of you because my sister, like a month ago, she had this big, huge lump around here, and all her thyroid's messed up. They got her on some medication, and they've just done all tests. Like she got this big lump in her throat, and she can barely talk and swallow at the moment. So they're running tests on my sister. They reckon she's got like an overactive thyroid and this like huge lump in her neck and stuff.
She's got a goiter. Yeah, she got a goiter. Goiters are not bad. I mean, you could, because if they treat you with thyroid medication, they'll usually decrease in size. The weird thing is, my thing is teeny tiny. You would never, they can't even palpate it. Like when they're feeling my thyroid, they can't even feel it because it's in the side of the thyroid. But mine is cancer, so that's way more dangerous than having a little goiter, even though the goiter looks worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like these big lumps sticking out. Like got something stuck in your throat, like you swallowed a potato.
Wednesday, I'm going for my surgery. So on
Wednesday.
St. Patty's Day. Yeah, St. Patty's Day. So, but I got to go there. I got to drive over there on the other coast on Monday.
They kind of film it.
Yeah, Tyler's driving me to the surgery, so I'm going to tell him to. But I wish he can go into the operating room and film it, but he's going to at least film me prior to going in and then coming out, and I'll give you the whole,
Oh, we want you as soon as you come out of the anesthetic. Right?
Yeah, if I can have my phone present, I'll just start filming myself while I'm still under the influence of all the fucking anesthesia. I'm sure I might slip off and say something. They might want to cancel me after what I say.
Oh, Jesus. You'll be apologizing for a month. Don't do it.
I'll have to really produce a product called Apologize at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. What flavor would Apologize be? It'd have to be like
tar, black tar. I got to send you a tub of my ice coffee.
Yes,
I think you'll love it. I'm going to send it.
I'm still waiting for the Pop-Tarts.
Look, I told him. Who runs
the Pop-Tart? Look, I'm going to call that guy a total moron because I'm waiting for my Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. Start now. You'll be fighting him in the Octagon. Look, I deliver the messages. The people that are smart send over the product to Lee, and then the people who don't.
So I can't. Nothing bad to say about Mr. G because he sent me the big jumbo Palumbo cookies, and he sent me the other cookies, and they were great. I tell people to this day, because he used such good ingredients, they're the nicest cookies I've ever had. They actually taste like even the oatmeal ones are like it's wonderful. So yes, I can recommend Mr. G's cookies. Yes. Pop-Tarts, I don't know about that.
I'm sure Mr. G will be very happy to hear that your glowing endorsement.
Yes, Mr. G. So don't get killed by Lenny because who's going to make the cookies?
That's right. We need the cookies. And I guess are we going to see you on? Are you going to be joining us for Heavy Muscle Radio Sunday night?
Yes, that's 2 days away. Yeah, it'll be my Monday afternoon. Yes, I'll be back just so people go, oh my God, I hate this when Lee's on here. I like it when it's just Dave and Chris. But then the funny thing was, I watched it, then I read some of the comments. Oh, we like when Lee's on. I can't win, Dave. When I'm on, they don't like it when I'm on. When I'm not on, they like. Oh.
People complain about everything. I tell them, you know what, fuck you all, because I make the decisions of who's going to be on. So, when contest season comes around and I got to analyze a show for an hour, I do it with Chris usually. So, but now that we have downtime I like to bring on, multiple personalities because
we forgot we're having Samir on.
Oh, that's right. Is he confirmed for tomorrow?
Yes. Yes. I gave you his number. He said just give him the time, and that's so we're going to have Samir Banu on to tell funny stories.
Oh, that'll be great.
He's got some funny stories, and he does the best Joe Weider impressions.
Oh, his Joe Weider impressions are the best. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I got to wrap this up.
He used to call up people and pretend he was Joe Weider and offer to give them contracts.
We should have him call. Steve Blackman as Joe Weider and say, do with the impression and tell Steve he wants to go into business with him, start another magazine with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Steve will be that excited he'll forget that Joe died.
Died. Right?
Oh my God, it's Joe. He's alive.
He's alive.
And now they're going to say we're not making fun of Joe Weider people before.
And we're not making fun of dead people.
He was a great man. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's like I tell people that. Do you know what he would be doing if he was alive today?
What?
Scratching at the box. I tell you that all the time.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, it's making fun of people.
I don't want to get into another whole conversation. We're trying to wrap it up. But would you think if Joe was young and the internet came along, you think he would have embraced the internet and been able to capitalize on having the best website and the best presence on the web?
I think so. When you look at the magazines and the photographers and the people he had around him, yes, I think so. The way he capitalized on the marketing with Muscle and Fitness and the Flex magazine, then he went into the Hers and the Oxygen on him. But up until then, when he just had the Flex and the Muscle and Fitness and that, the way he had that running with the photo shoots and like they were the go-to magazines. And then, and like I said, the photographers with Chris Lund and all the reporters he had there and stuff. Yeah, I reckon he would have probably dominated on the internet if he had it back then for sure.
I think he would have found a way to find to put the best people in place to make sure that his website would have been.
Joe would have been like, now guys, I want you to have cameras in all your rooms at the house. People need to see this. They want to see what you're doing every day. Every room's got to have a camera.
Speaking of that, can you imagine if Ed Connors would have had cameras in all the rooms at his house with all the guys that stayed over there? Holy macroll! With the content
someone said he did, but I don't think he did. I used to look around like this. I don't believe it. And nothing funny ever happened. I think Ed was too smart for that. It's like, it's like you'd always hear that, but no, I never had the word put on me. Which I'm still upset about. I just don't have the looks or something.
All right, I'm wrapping this up. Lee, thank you so much. Guys, if you have any ideas for future shows of Iron Rage, put them in the comments below. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe. If you hate the channel, unsubscribe. I could care less. I'm Dave Palumbo with Lee Priest for another installment of Iron Rage.